Hello guys, my name is Paul. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Uracademy. If you like this video, please subscribe our channel. So today we are going to take some MCQs of Indian national movement. As I have collected these MCQs from the previous year papers. So these are the most important MCQs which were asked repeatedly in several examinations, both in state and central level, like UPSC and other job-oriented exams, and also asked in the NET exam. So these MCQs are the soul of all the examinations. As I have did a complete research on that, as these questions were repeatedly asked in the different types of the exams. So let's start this video. The first objective is the Modi script was employed in the document of the. It was a script. Script simply means we will not only solve the MCQs, but we will also understand the background of the MCQs. We will understand what was the nature of the MCQ. So that's why it will help us to understand and also remember the concept. We cannot go with MCQs and remember that this happened, but we will understand the background. Modi script. Script simply means a writing technique. It was in Maratha. So Maratha in order to maintain the revenue records, this script was used, Modi script. Today we have Modi is the Prime Minister of India. Now Modi script was used in Maratha to collect for the revenue and administrative records. Another objective is about the middle class of India. So we know middle class is consist of like doctors, lawyers, shopkeepers. These are the part of the middle class, and also some kind of job oriented people, they are also part of the middle class. So middle class in India was totally isolated during the time of 1857. We have to talk about the remaining neutral in 1857. As we know, revolt 1857 was an important event in the Indian history, which was also known as Britishers called it Sepoy Mutiny. Indian leaders like Savarkar call it the first war of the first war of independence, and Britishers used to call it Sepoy Mutiny. Mutiny because in British Indian, the people who were Indians working in army were called as sepoys. So we know the revolt 1857 does not spread to the all parts of the India, as it does not spread to all parts of India, and also we know the revolt 1857 was not supported by the all Indians, as the middle class remained away from this revolt, as they considered it as the army rebellion. They did not part in it, and also the class also did not support it. It were the lower class, especially the peasants, who support the revolt 1857. That's why British easily suppressed this revolt. The painting of Rabindranath Tagore was classified as in 1999. So Rabindranath was a good painter, writer. His painting was called as revivalist. Uh, Rabindranath Tagore is known as the leader of revivalist movement in the field of modern Indian paintings. Revivalism means something what a person who has revived the past, who has given new life to the past. That's why he was known as revivalist, one who revives the culture of painting in India and gives them life. The another objective is there was no independent development of industries in India during the British rule, because of independent industry does not develop during the British rule, because uh, India was converted into the market of the raw materials. Indian market was converted into raw material market for the European industries. So Britishers does not made or allow construction of the big industries, because British have turned India as the uh, market of the raw material, and they have taken the raw material from India to Britain, where the big industries were set up. The first film features Taki produced in India was, what was the name of the film which was produced in India? It was Alam Ara. Alam Ara was the first Indian sound film directed by the Arshadeen Irani, the Indian film Taki was so popular that police aid had summoned to control the crowd. So we have to understand that that movie was so much popular that police have to brought in order to control the crowd, and this the movie name was Alam Ara. So Arshadeen Irani was the it is director of the film. Another important objective is the Governor General who followed the separated forward policy towards the Afghanistan. Forward policy, British have followed dual policy against Afghanistan. One policy was remain away from Afghanistan, did not interfere in the politics of the Afghanistan. Another policy was forward policy. Forward policy belief was that we have to take Afghanistan, we have to interfere with the politics of the Afghanistan. That's why it was known as forward. Forward means to looking forward and interfere in the politics of the Afghanistan. So it was, we know it was the Linton who followed the forward policy and believes in the interference in the politics of Afghanistan. As we know, what was the result of this forward policy? It totally failed because the culture of Afghanistan was always hostile towards the outsiders, and there was no power which survived in Afghanistan, whether it was British in 18th, 19th to 20th century, and whether it was then Russia, which was known as USSR. Now it's America. It was also thrown out of this Afghanistan. As we know, their culture was against the outside powers, and their tribal spirit to fight against the other powers was known by the history from different times. Then another objective is that the last major extension of the British Indian territory took place during the time of. So we know British follows different types of policy of extension, expanding their territory in India. One was the subsidiary alliance, which was introduced by the Lord Wellesley. Another was doctrine of lapse, which was introduced by the Dalhousie. So it was the Dalhousie who led the last extension of the territories, because after then revolt 1857 took place and British uh, stopped the policy of the extension of the territories. It was Dalhousie the last major extension took place during his time under the Dalhousie doctrine of lapse. We know annexation of Jhansi, whose ruler was Rani Lakshmi Bai, popularly known as the Queen of Jhansi. And on the basis of misgovernance, Awadh was, we know what Dalhousie's policy of doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse simply means those states, princely states, which were not part of the British, direct British administration or British rule, if there is no heir to the empire, their territory will directly came under to the British rule. So one of the important thing is that about this, only one state which was annexed under the act of misgovernance by the British. It was Awadh. British, because it was Awadh has had its natural hire. They have natural hire, but British says that they were not properly ruling their state, so British annexed Awadh. So it is important, it is asked in different competitive exams which state was annexed under the doctrine of lapse but for the misgovernance. We know that it was Awadh. Wajid Ali Khan was their ruler. Which one of the, now we another important is who among the following Indian ruler established the embassies in the foreign countries in modern lines? This is an important question. Indian ruler who established the embassies in foreign countries in modern line. Embassies means sending their officials or foreign ministers to the other countries in order to maintain diplomatic ties, in order to create a harmony with another country and also get military support from this country. It was Tipu Sultan, we know that. Tipu Sultan who established embassies in France, Turkey, Egypt on modern lines. We have, it's important, we know during the ancient times Ashoka also sent his embassies to the other rulers, or we can say his foreign ministers, in order to maintain the relation. But important thing about the Tipu Sultan was that he established these embassies on modern lines, not on medieval lines, simple relations of giving gifts, but it was modern lines. So we have to understand these things. Under the Permanent Settlement 1893, the zamindars are required to issue patas to the farmers, which were not issued by many of the zamindars. The reason was, we have before giving answer to this objective, I will give you a little explanation of the permanent settlement. Permanent settlement was first settlement introduced by the British in India. It was introduced in Bengal and other parts of some other part of Bengal and like in Bihar. So what was this permanent settlement? Permanent settlement, it was the settlement of revenue settlement, which was, it was known as permanent because it was introduced and made for forever. There was no date or renewal date of the settlement in order to bring changes in the settlement. And this settlement is also known as zamindari settlement, because in this settlement zamindars were made the owners of this land. So they were made owners of the land, zamindars, and they were given all rights to collect the taxes and also measurement of the land. So zamindars were given complete powers by the British in this land, and the peasants were given nothing, but just they were acted as the puppets of the zamindars. So why they don't issue the patas? Because zamindars does not want to issue these patas. There was no official checkup because no one was looking at the work of the zamindars. So we have the important thing who introduced it, and this permanent settlement. It was John Shore who planned this settlement and introduced it by the Lord Cornwallis. So one, the brainchild behind this permanent settlement was John Shore, and who introduced it? Cornwallis, who was the Governor General at that time. We know zamindars were made owners of the land. So I will conclude today's class with the top MCQs which were asked repeatedly in the several competitive exams, and they will be asked in the future. As we know, these MCQs are very important for all the exams, and we not only explain or solve MCQs but also give complete explanation. I have given complete explanation and details of all MCQs. Even the background I have mentioned it for all the MCQs. If you like this video, please subscribe the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.